Well, the Bucs went to 2-0 in the preseason, Steve. I wasn't as impressed by this performance as I was their first one. However, I guess start with the bad news first. We're waiting to see what the outcome is going to be on Jalen McMillan, who suffered a back injury. Now, I saw him after the game. He was laughing and joking around quite a bit, but he was also wearing one of those neck collars, which is never a good thing, after the doctors. That was a scary moment. Teddy Bridgewater threw one a little too high, and then McMillan climbed the ladder and got it, but he got upended at the same time. It came down on his neck and his back, which, man, for a moment there, I thought, oh, God, don't let this be a very serious injury. But we don't know. You don't know with those things. So a little bit of caution with that. Some other players got nicked up. Obviously, Christian Izien is one to be concerned about because he does so much on their defense, plays multiple positions and that sort of thing. But yeah, McMillan was the one that I came out of there thinking, okay, now you're down to Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka, who, boy, for all the world looks like Chris Godwin to me.
Doesn't he ever? I mean, and as much as you and I both thought defensive pass rusher was probably a bigger need for that first round, and we know that Jason Light has said he fell in love with the player more than the position.
Yeah.
And from all accounts, he's a great person in that, and that's part of it. But on the field, he looks just as good too, and polished for a rookie at that position.
Oh, extremely so. And he can play all four actually different receiver positions, but his route running is elite, and he's a perfectionist. Yeah, he's a great kid. I mean, he's a 10 character wise. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you saw him, every year when they played Michigan, they had an embarrassment of riches at receiver, but he was one of those guys that put up a couple 1,000-yard receiving seasons back to back. And, and the other thing that always amazes me, and a little bit, I guess that's why Bridgewater is here in a sense, is that, Ted had not really thrown any reps with Emeka at all, because by the time he gets in the passing line, he's throwing to Trey Palmer and Sterling Shepard and guys like that. And yet, you've played enough football that if you get a certain look and a certain coverage, you're going to drop it in the bucket, right? And you hope you can read the guy's body language and get him coming out of his break and all that sort of stuff. Now, the throw he makes, in the beginning to Bucky Irving is just elite. That's just a dime, right? It's just out of everybody's outstretched hands. He had one-on-one with the linebacker. He just beat him straight down the field. But the Emeka catch was just an amazing catch, but it was also, just Teddy trying to throw the ball into an area. But yeah, Emeka, man, he's next level good. But for Teddy to be here 12 days and played a lot of offenses, he sat down with Josh Grizzard. I guess it was Friday night, and then again Saturday morning. They came up with, a kind of a menu of plays that he knew. Some of them even, kind of carried over from his Miami Dolphin days with Josh. But, I mean, that's what the difference to me is. You get a guy who's experienced, doesn't need a lot of reps, can go in there and function at a high level and get points on the board, versus Kyle, who's just never been in a regular season game. Not that this was, but there is the experience is huge, right? Like, you tell me I'm not experienced, but you won't play me. How am I supposed to get it? But the guys that have it in this league, it's just like with Tom Brady. I mean, and I'm not comparing him, but in a sense, Tom Brady wasn't the same quarterback when he got here in Tampa that he'd always been, but he had so much experience that, that ball was coming out of his hand. He knew where to go with it all the time. He's very accurate, and it made up for a lot. It after about a few weeks, what were they, 7-5? Then they really turned it on, made some adjustments with the protection so he was comfortable. And I think it's like that with Bridgewater. I mean, I marvel at guys that can show up and 12 days later go out and play an NFL game.
Although I do find it funny, and it's not the same comparison. It's not apples to apples.
Right.
But everyone's raving about Teddy Bridgewater in 12 days and going out and playing. Baker Mayfield was signed on a Tuesday or Wednesday and played Monday Night Football and won a game. I mean, now, it's different when you come in as a starter because every rep that week and every bit of coaching was based on the starter. And so it's not apples to apples. And, what Teddy is doing is great and all that. But I do think it's funny. It was 12 days. That was great. And it's like, well, Baker was like 3 days and won a game.
He played a real NFL game on the road.
Yeah. to a new team. So, but like I said, it's not apples to apples because as soon as you get to the Rams, every last minute of prep was Baker getting up to speed.
Right. And he had 2 days of practice with the starters.
And that's not what happens with the backup quarterback when you come to camp.
Right.
You're not getting those reps. So it's kind of funny that way. But
like Baker, how all that experience in different systems prepared him for being able to translate it, right?
Absolutely. No question.
And just go play football.
Yeah, and you could see, like, and Todd Bowles even said as he walked off the field at halftime on the TV broadcast, they were asking him, how do you think Teddy does? Yeah, he started a little slow, but then picked it up and looked better. And I thought the exact same thing. I mean, he really hadn't played any meaningful time in an NFL game in a couple years, really.
Several years. Yeah, he got in the game in Detroit in the playoff, threw one pass, completed it.
Yeah.
But prior to that, he was a coach. He's a football coach at Miami Northwestern, who, by the way, he FaceTimed because on the same night, they went and beat Lakeland, which is a really good program. And Teddy FaceTimed him from his game to theirs. He's a good dude. Like, there's no question, like,
but the other benefit. But the other thing, and what we talked about last Friday's podcast was, is Teddy really here to be the backup quarterback, or is he here to be a coach in waiting and training, an additional coach? We talked about Richard Sherman kind of became that when he got hurt, and some of Teddy's comments have even lead you to believe that, I just text Baker to let him know he's doing great, and sometimes about football, sometimes about other, like. He's acting like a coach even and telling us he is.
Well, he says he's a humble servant, and he's been that for a while, pretty much all his career. But I mean, they have coaches, right? Like, I think his experience in the room will help Baker for sure, because that's something Trask can't give Baker. It's much like we've talked about in the past. Like, why did Tom Brady not just have Kyle Trask as his backup? Why was Blaine Gabbert here? Because he needed somebody who had been there in the fire before, that had enough experience to see things that there's no way Trask would see, so that from the sideline or the pictures or the tablets or whatever between series, he can go to him and say, hey, look, this is what I've seen this defense, this is what so-and-so likes to do. And the coordinators in the league too, many times. So there's little, there's a cheat code, basically, the more you play. And that's the thing you cannot put that into Kyle Trask. I don't think Kyle's a bad quarterback. I don't think he's very good. He doesn't get to throw a lot to Mike Evans and, a lot of the starters and the McMillans and Mecca and that. He did have 2 practices where he did that when Baker was out. Quite frankly, he didn't really look that good, by Todd Bowles' own admission. He didn't practice well. So, there's a confidence thing that is at play here. Now, Bowles said he doesn't know whether they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks. He could have easily said, yeah, we're keeping 3. He hasn't committed to that yet. So, there's a chance. The thing about, if you try to keep Teddy, if he's on the 53 when you make your cuts, his contract, while it's probably the veteran minimum or thereabouts, it's guaranteed, the whole thing. Like, the whole thing. So what teams usually do is if they're going to keep a 3rd guy, they'll get him through waivers. No one's going to sign Teddy Bridgewater, I don't think, unless there's an injury and somebody says, I think Teddy would be loyal to the team that called him when he got fired at his high school program. But you're probably going to have to, let's say you're carrying 3, you're probably going to have to cut him, let him clear waivers, and then either bring him back on the regular roster where you don't have to guarantee his contract, or put him on the practice squad. Now, I don't know that he comes here thinking I'm going to be a practice squad quarterback. I don't know that he doesn't, by the way, but I don't know that he does. So that's going to be a decision that, they'll have to talk about. And quite frankly, I think they probably already have. But I'll tell you, I'd have no trouble if I'm a head coach saying we got to finish a game with Teddy Bridgewater and we got to find a way to win, or even if we had to start 1 or 2. You could function if you got your guys, and that's going to be the key. Like, they can't sustain any more injuries. And then, talking to Bowles this morning, he made it clear, like, Baker's not going to play this preseason. Like, you're not going to see him.
Well, if he's happy with everything they've done in practice, which
that's it.
He was initially going to play him Saturday.
Yep.
And then after watching the tape of the joint practice, no, he's good. So you have to trust in Todd Bowles and Josh Grizzard and the staff there saying Baker's ready to go, and we don't need the reps against
live
the Buffalo
action
Bills next week.
Yeah, and I think I see what he saw, and we told the story last Friday about how he called me because he had said that Mike wasn't going to play and Levante wasn't going to play, and then he decided after watching the tape, Baker's not going to play either. And I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Look, we saw what happened to Jalen McMillan, right? Like, which guy do you want to go out there and just play football and get hurt? And if it's the quarterback, if he gets hit, and to be honest with you, the one thing I thought that Pittsburgh kind of exposed a little bit is Bucs could not run the football. Could not, right, with their starting offensive line. And Pittsburgh's really good on defense. Like, that's where all their money is spent, right? But they, Bucky Irving couldn't get a yard for the most part. He did it in receiving, obviously, with the touchdown, but he had trouble running the football when they had their first group in there. So this is gonna be a little tougher up front with Charlie Heck, because you only need one guy to get penetration or somebody miss a block, or and then the whole play's kind of blown up, and then all of a sudden those other four guys that have been there all the time, they don't look so good. So they're gonna have to clean some stuff up, up front.
I wonder if some of that isn't. I mean, part of it is neither team's game planning.
You're not scheming, you're not game planning, and you're very vanilla. That's true.
But the other part is Pittsburgh's also going, okay, it's Teddy Bridgewater and Kyle Trask. Like, we can sell out for the run.
Yeah, we're not worried. Yeah, sure.
And I don't know how much they did that, and
no, I just think they were physical up front. I think they whipped them a little bit. Yeah,
but I mean, the running game has been an issue for Tampa Bay for years. Now, last year it got a lot better
until last year.
Yeah, until last year, and but can they replicate that again?
Yeah, I don't know.
And and without Tristan Wirfs for a few games, it's definitely going to be harder.
I mean, well, Rachaad White is out, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a little bit of Sean Tucker. I don't know. Suddenly, I don't know which one of these guys you could be without. You could be potentially, because we haven't seen him, but you could start the Atlanta game without Rachaad White, without Jalen McMillan, without Chris Godwin. I mean, those are three.
And Tristan Wirfs, we know,
and Tristan Wirfs is definitely out. So, I mean, you're talking about four major parts of your offense that could not be on the field in Atlanta. And I don't know how good Atlanta is. I don't know how good their defense is. They added a lot of pieces, but that's not, it's pretty obvious why you don't want to go out there against Buffalo and risk anybody at this point, because you're there. You're there. If you don't play them, that what you have right now is going to be in Atlanta, and probably a couple more when you get back in Atlanta week 1. You won't have Godwin. We'll see about Rachaad, because that was kind of a weird one. But it's you're there, and the work they got in the two individual practices was really good work. Like, they got after it. Everything but hitting the quarterback, which you weren't allowed to do. But Baker was on point. Would you, for his sake, would he probably like to take a shot when he threw the ball just to get that out of the way? Probably. I mean, it's going to be a little weird for him, but he's played so much football, and done it under adverse conditions, like you said, with the Rams and that. So you'll have a week of preparation. Your game plan will be totally different, and then you're playing a familiar opponent in Atlanta that you're used to playing twice a year. So I don't think that'll be a problem. But yeah, there was. And there's injuries, man. Losing Christian Izien is a big loss. They lost another, young defensive back up there at practice who was, running down trying to cover kicks.
Yeah, J.J. Russell.
Yeah, and he was going to make this team. People ask me about, now that Russell's out, what about Shiloh Sanders? I don't think Shiloh makes this team as it's constructed right now. If there's another couple injuries, obviously it helps him. He didn't do anything wrong necessarily, but he didn't really stand out either. I think they've got probably at least 2, maybe 3 other safeties that are better, more experienced than him that they would keep. But that's what this final week is about. This final preseason game is about. Okay, put those undrafted guys and the veterans that you've signed, in tryouts in different places, and let them prove, whether it's on special teams or playing defense or whatever, just who's going to make this team. That's what this last game is. It's just a bunch of dudes that could be playing their last football game. That's the other thing. This could be it for a lot of these guys. So, but they're there. Like Buffalo's playing, on Sunday night, and they got to come down here, in 6 days. And we haven't seen Josh Allen. There's a lot of quarterbacks I don't think have played this, this preseason. Aaron Rodgers certainly didn't play, and that didn't surprise me, but it's just a different approach now with just the 3 games.
Yeah, it is interesting how you see each team do it a little differently. And obviously, some of the rookie quarterbacks, obviously, they're playing.
Yeah, Caleb Williams played his first series tonight.
Yeah, Caleb Williams, second-year quarterback. But
right.
Joe Burrow has played a lot more this, and he's going to play more this preseason. They'll play tonight, actually, for their second game. So
they have a game tonight? Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
At Washington.
So he will go, you said?
Yeah, he's going to play. They said the starters will play about the same as last game.
Yeah. Now, their psychology, there's a little bit of a method to their madness. They've started really poorly the last couple of years.
Yeah, so offensively, they've got all the gates really slow.
Yeah, so I think maybe they're overcompensating a bit, but I understand why they're doing it while other teams might not. They're like, hey, maybe we're not doing enough, right? Like maybe we need to play and groove this a little bit better. So, try to avoid the bad start. I wouldn't want to expose Joe Burrow, but, to each his own.
Yeah, they're probably also making play calls that, are pretty safe calls for him or quick.
Yeah.
I haven't watched, but.
I mean, you can protect your quarterback for sure.
Yeah.
With play calling. But it's still football. The one good thing that's kind of shown up, and it's not all guys that are necessarily going to make the team, but just as a collective, like Todd Bowles started the year talking about how we have to get turnovers. They only had 7 interceptions last year. I think that was, bottom third or like 24th, 25th in the league. And they've had 6 interceptions now in 2 preseason games. Now, you got to go back and look and see who's throwing the ball, right, and all that stuff. But that aside, it's a positive sign.
I thought the Zion McCallum interception was fantastic.
It's fantastic.
The way he undercut that route.
Yeah, he's playing a trail technique and had his back to the quarterback a little bit, and then obviously he found the ball and undercut the receiver. That was really good. There's been a number of guys that have kind of stepped up. And when you get turnovers, I mean, Antonio Greer had the biggest one that gave them field position for the game-winning field goal. Obviously, I don't know if Greer is going to make it because they're going to keep both of those veteran inside linebackers. So I'm not sure, but this Kendall Vildor guy has shown up. He's played really well. He had an interception, and McCollum, as you mentioned. So when you get 6 in 2 weeks, regardless, that's you want to create habits. You want to create a mentality of, and everyone emphasizes it, and they all say, it's the biggest part of the game. We can just get the ball turned over. You got if you win the turnover battle, you probably have an 80% chance of winning and that sort of thing. So they're trying because it was bad last year, but also, consider who's quarterbacking. It wasn't, it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. It wasn't some of those guys, but they need to get Benjamin Morrison back. Jacob Parrish has looked great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think overall they're a much stronger secondary, and they played tighter coverage. The one guy who didn't have a bad game but had a really bad series was Jamel Dean. That was you give up the 42-yard pass, then you get a PI, then you give up the touchdown in 3 plays. It was like, woof. They picked on my man just a little bit.
That was not good.
Yeah.
Does he make this team?
Yeah, he makes it, sure.
I mean, I know in the offseason, there was talk. Drafted 2 cornerbacks.
Maybe you trade him like you did Carlton, right?
Would he become, some cap savings and either trade him or release him because your young guys are stepping up.
Yeah.
McCollum's ready. You got Morrison. You got Parrish.
If Morrison was healthy, maybe it's a different discussion, but we haven't seen him on the field. And like I said, Dean's had a good camp. Like he's played good coverage against Mike. Him and Mike have some epic battles. And it goes back and forth. I mean, Mike wins most of them, obviously, but he's actually played okay. And I think when you're pushed like he's been, and he said it, he goes, look, I know I got to be more productive and I can't get hurt, and that's why these other guys are here. The guy that's been fantastic is Parrish, and he's proven he can play outside as well as inside. So they have, some versatility there, even though he's a smaller corner. He doesn't play that way. He packs a punch and he plays big. So they got to get Morrison back on the field. And you know, Bull said today, he goes, well, you know, he's not that far behind because he's been doing things, you know, assignment ready, all that stuff. So maybe this is a chance for him to get out there this week and at least, you know, run around and get his, you know, initiation into because he's going to make the team. I mean, he's a great talent, second rounder. But it's a good question. It's like, would you make a deal if you could get something to help yourself? You know, I did see where your Bengals. I can't believe this. They're going to trade Trey Henderson. Really?
Well, hold on, because I saw that and I went to some of the Bengals reporters online.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing has changed.
Okay.
The Bengals are opening to listening to trades. The price is extremely high.
Okay.
No one's expected to meet their price, and because you not only do you have to pay the price, then you got to try to sign.
You got
Trey.
double compensation. You got to pay him $40 million a year, and then you got to give up the draft picks.
So, you know, nothing has changed. This, I think, is more the agent putting it out there because the talks have stalled. Which is
trying to get a little bit of action on it. Yeah,
it's the Bengals trying to win a negotiation instead of a Super Bowl, but they do this all the time.
It's frustrating, man.
It is, you know, but I think this is more the agent pushing it before a Monday Night Football game on national television tonight.
That makes sense, yeah.
You know, to make that the storyline going into the game.
Sure.
Trying to either force the Bengals to negotiate or come off a number or
just stir it up.
It's get some chatter. I don't think the contract is the issue. It's the guarantee, how much guaranteed money.
Right.
And so I don't think anything's changed in this. I think it's just one side putting it out there, trying to make it a story going into the game tonight.
Yeah. It sounds a little agent driven. You know, it hadn't been much progress. So let's try to get the conversation going and see if we can get some negotiations and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Bucs are lucky that way. Like they've got several guys now they'd like to re-sign, and there will be talks. I know Drew Rosenhaus about this week or so was supposed to, from my understanding anyway, was supposed to submit a proposal about Zion McCallum, who I think they'd have an interest in extending. But you just don't have to do it before the end of the year. You know, if it's a fair deal for both sides, you would. You'd probably save some salary cap money or whatnot. But like, you know, there's no urgency in the sense that you'll still have till next March. But once you get through the season, there's, you know, any player can say, well, I'm going to test the market and I'm out of here, you know. And I sat down with Mike Evans. We're doing a lot of these preseason, you know, tabs and special sections and things like that. So I get a lot of my interviews on the road like I did this week. I just had a bunch of guys I got to talk to one-on-one. And I talked to them about, you know, a little bit more about that, you know, a year ago. Or it was actually 2 years ago, I guess it would have been, when he was coming up for his contract. And, you know, it was like, well, if we don't get it, you know, by the start of the regular season, I'm not talking to be on, you know, I'm not going to discuss it. And he didn't. But I was like, how close did you come, you know, to going somewhere else? And he goes, pretty close. Pretty close. And the two teams are the ones you'd expect. Houston, which is his closest one to his hometown, obviously. And the other one was the Kansas City Chiefs. Go play for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, it was home, and Kansas City's not that far from Texas as well.
Right. But Galveston's 90 miles away or something like that, or 90 minutes away.
Oh, yeah, Houston for sure, but then, you know, Kansas City made sense because of Mahomes.
And win a Super Bowl. There you go. Go with the greatest quarterback, you know, that was going today. And he goes, you know, it was my wife. He goes, and, you know, we've told the story, but he goes, you know, Ashley just was like, why don't we just stay here? You know, and that kind of pushed it over the top. He still lives half the year in Galveston. And I said, well, how's that work with your kids? And he said, all my kids are homeschooled. So he could have gone any place.
Yep.
You know,
which that makes it really easy.
Yeah. So, you know, it's not a situation where you got to wait till June every year, or I guess it's not June, but like May, late May, before your kids are out. But it was not a given. I mean, you know, for Mike to stay here was, you know, should never be taken for granted. He's glad he's here. He's happy here. Obviously, now he's back in the situation where he doesn't have a contract for next season. The way his body feels, and he's completely changed how he, you know, eats and takes care of himself and all that. He thinks he could play maybe another 3 years, but he's also not taking it for granted. Like, he realizes, you know, he's a little bit in the Levante David mode, who I also sat down with, and he's kind of year to year, that's sort of where he's at. As long as he stays healthy, we'll see. I mean, I think he'll get his 1,000 and probably do it a lot sooner than he did last year. But you've got more receivers. You got a Mecca if Godwin comes back. You've got Jalen if he's okay. So a lot of mouths to feed. But we know Baker. He's going to spread the ball around, so they'll probably do it. What else went on up there? It was it was interesting being in Pittsburgh. I haven't spent a ton of time up there. What a culture for football, though, and just what a sports. And it's a shame that I keep coming back to this. I can't believe the Pirates have that ballpark in that history and statues of Roberto Clemente and Willie Stargell and all these guys, and they don't spend money on their baseball team.
Well, as we've often said, winning to these owners isn't always about the title.
I know. It's so sad, though, because it's steeped in history, right? Now, don't get me wrong. When my mom was growing up in Pennsylvania, they were god awful. The Pirates were terrible. All they had was Ralph Kiner or somebody to root for. But now, I mean, that's got to be one of the top 5 nicest ballpark venues in Major League Baseball.
I've been to most of them. It's number 3, but it's very close to number 2 on my list.
Yeah. So what is one?
Where the Rays just played in San Francisco.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Which is now Oracle Park, and then Petco in San Diego and Pittsburgh.
I heard that's beautiful too.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I was there when they were building Petco, so I know exactly where it is. I haven't seen a game there yet, and and then there's the nostalgia of Wrigley Field or
Wrigley and Fenway. I kind of put in different categories.
They're in a different category, yeah.
And Grant, I know Wrigley. They've put $1 billion into it or whatever else.
Sure, but it's still Wrigley.
The reality of Fenway and Wrigley, at least when I was going to games many years ago, they're dumps.
Yeah, they are.
It's the history, the tradition, the everything about it, the neighborhood, it's an experience and it's awesome.
Right.
But the actual stadiums themselves,
no, they're antiquated.
Yeah. Now Wrigley, I know they've updated, and I think Fenway they're trying to do a lot of work too as well, to make it better, but. They're nowhere near the amenities of all the new stadiums. Nowhere close.
Anytime you walk into Fenway and the bathroom has a trough instead of urinals, I'm like, wait a minute. I laugh because I think of you ever seen the old pictures of these dudes and they go to baseball games with the hat and the suit on?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And yep. I think about 25 guys standing there.
Michigan Stadium had the troughs for years.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
It's only been in the last 15, 20 years they got rid of those, I think.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's how you get 100,000 people to go to the bathroom.
I guess, but I got a shy bladder, man. I can't do that. Sorry. Not happening, But, yeah, you're exactly right, though, about the stadiums. But man, it's it's right on the river, obviously. Outfield's open to it. It's gorgeous. I just sat there and stared at it. I was like, what a great place to play, except for the fact they don't pay anybody. And yet they got probably arguably the top 3 or 4 pitcher in baseball right now.
He might be number 1.
He might be number 1.
Well, especially if you're going to talk long term and
potential, right?
How young he is.
Yeah, exactly. Guy throws 100 every.
Yeah, guys like Skubal are up there, and there's a few others, but Skubal's 27. I mean, Skeens is 22.
Yeah, he's a baby. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he gave up his first run in the first inning in his 25th start this year. I mean, that's
crazy. I know, that's just insane. Yeah.
And yet they can't win even when he's on the mound because they have no offense.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get a feel. I'll say this. This is kind of weird statement to make based on absolutely nothing except a sample of the Pittsburgh fans that bothered to go to a preseason game, which, you paid full price. I guess you might as well go, but maybe they're not the rank and file fans. Early on in that game, when the Bucs were up 14-0, there were chants about Mike Tomlin, and they weren't positive. I think there's a Tomlin fatigue in Pittsburgh. I really do. I don't know that the owners give a crap because they never have.
He's been there, close to 20 years? I think 19.
Yeah, 18, 17, 18,
and he hasn't won a Super Bowl since his 3rd or 4th year. I mean, it's
right.
Not...
Been to 2. I think he's 0-6 in the playoffs. Those last 6 appearances or something like that. And
they haven't had an offense in years.
No, and I'll tell you, even less so this year. Like I look out there and I'm like, okay, DK Metcalf, all right, maybe one other receiver that would be like number 4 on this team. Nondescript running backs, an average at best offensive line. Like Freiermuth is a good tight end, but like I don't know. I don't know how they're going to move the ball. I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to end up. I don't know if that offensive line can protect him. I don't know if they can run enough to keep him out of 3rd and longs, and I don't know that he has enough weapons around him. Which obviously he certainly needs, but it's going to be really, and Mike finds a way to win 9 or 10 games with anybody, but this is going to be a really interesting, trying year for them. I don't know. I wasn't over defensively though. I'm telling you, they're a problem. I mean, they always are. Like they will hit you in the mouth, and you will work for every yard, especially on the ground. Like they stop the run now. They come and they stop the run. But the Bucs did a good job too. I thought on defense, and they're deep, much deeper than they've been in the past at key positions. Linebacker, they have some guys when they get Deion Jones and they get Anthony Walker Jr. back, they'll have even more depth there. So, but overall, it's been it's been one of those training camps now where you're looking at, you started with 2 starters out, and now maybe you have McMillan out. You got some injuries on defense that, some key players there. It's not calamitous yet, but it's also not trending the right way. So, they have to overcome some issues. But the biggest thing will be just, the continuity of the system. I think Grizzard's done a nice job. Now, the other thing is that Todd Bowles has let, his defensive coordinators, if you will, George Edwards is a passing game coordinator, and Larry Foote call the defense. And the first week it was Edwards, the second week it was Foote. And Foote calls it a lot like Bowles, according to Bowles. He's done this every year, but I don't know that there's a scenario where, and I'll ask him again, as I do every year, we'll get to the regular season and he chooses somebody else to call the defense. Because I don't think he feels like they're better than him. And so I guess he gives them opportunity, to call plays and put their stamp on it in the preseason every year, and keep them experienced so when they go and get a defensive coordinator's position or whatever. But they've split it up, and so the third game, the last game, I wonder if Todd will just take it, because you got 2 guys and you got 2 games. So I don't know if somebody's going to double up or not, but yeah, so far it's the defense has done a good job taking the ball away, and they limited points and done what you need to do. So it's been good. We'll see what they do this week. No practice today, and then they'll get ready to prepare to play their final preseason game, and then you get the week in between. You'll have cuts coming up here before too long after the final game. They'll start releasing guys. And we'll see. Still not committed to 2 or 3 quarterbacks. There's a lot of unknowns, but this week will be big for the final guys on the roster, the 50 through 53, 49 through 53, that sort of thing, and then see who they bring back on the practice squad. All right, we'll talk about the Rays and their road trip. They're coming off a 6-6 road trip, headed back here to play the New York Yankees in just a minute. But first, get on down to Breitling Boutique International Plaza Mall. That's where you're going to find the beautiful watches, the greatest Swiss watches you can hope for. Breitling Company's been in business for 140-something years. They've been at International Plaza Mall now for 5+ years. And you can also get women's watches for your wife or your girlfriend. These are sports watches that are both durable and beautiful. She has an array of different colored wristbands to choose from. Listen, the customer service is great, but ask them about the NFL watches. That's right. They're commemorating the 104th year anniversary of the NFL with 32 different team watches while supplies last. And that's what's key, because there was a limited amount of these things. So if you're a football fan of the Bucs or some other team, ask to see these watches. They got the team colors on the face of this watch, this beautiful chronomet watch with the logo. You're going to have to get it. Go to TampaBay.com. You'll see probably an ad for the Breitling Boutique watch of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It is Breitling Boutique. They're in International Plaza Mall. And when you go, please let them know that you heard about it on Sports Day Tampa Bay. All right, so the Rays coming off their road trip, they're finally headed back after a long haul. I mean, this has really, been like what was it, 19 out of, what was it, 17 out of 19?
19 out of 22 on the road.
19 out of 22, right, with the 3 games of the Dodgers at home, and this last road trip
was 12 games, 14 days.
Man, that's a lot. And to go 6-6, not bad, other than, you got swept in one city.
Well, that was the
Seattle.
thing. We said going in, you needed to take 2 or 3 in every series. Just win each series.
Right.
You did that for 3 of the 4.
You did. Problem is you got swept.
Yeah, Anaheim and San Francisco and Seattle is where you got swept. What was the other city you were missing in there? Whichever one it was.
The A's.
Oh, the Athletics, not Oakland, but the Athletics.
Mm-hmm.
So you won those. You won those 3, and you took 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
The shame is you got swept by the Mariners. Even if you had just won one of those,
just win one.
Came back 7-5. You've been like, all right.
You gain a game that way, right?
Yeah.
Like you gain a game on 500.
Yeah, because you're below 500. So that even going 500 is still better than the rest of your record, but.
Well, it doesn't guarantee you anything, but if you get to 500, now you just need a couple more games over, and you can get to 87 wins. I think maybe you make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't a terrible road trip for some guys. Like Junior Caminero was a damn good road trip. I mean, hell, he hit 7 home runs.
7 home runs. Brendan Lau had a good road trip. Yandy Diaz had some huge hits.
Mm-hmm.
Got to see Bob Seymour make his debut and got his first hit on Sunday.
Big Bob got one, through the hole. That was cool. Giants fans gave him a big hand. It was neat.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of bummed they didn't sweep. It's hard to sweep any team. It's just the order. Like if you'd have lost the first game to the Giants and won the final 2, you'd feel better. But 6-6 is 6-6. It's not a failure. But
for that long of a road trip, it's not. Like you said, it's not what you wanted because of the situation you're in the standings.
You need to make
But at the beginning of the year, if you said on a 12-game road trip out west, you go 6-6, you're like, I'll take that.
It'd be fine.
Yeah. Now, the problem is what happened before that road trip to put you back below 500. After you had the 25-9 stretch to go 11 games above 500, then you went like 10-24 after that and gave it all back, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and they had some tough games too that they lost late. The bullpen gave it up some.
Well, that first game in Seattle, you should have won that game.
Yeah, and that would have been a tone setter, I think, for the whole road trip.
Yep.
Certainly for that series. Even if you just win that one and you lose the next 2, you're coming home with a winning record. But
like we said, you won the other 3 series. If you took one game against Seattle, you're coming back 7-5.
Right.
But
now how long are they here? Because I know they got the Yankees coming.
Only 5 games. They got the Yankees for 2.
Just 5. Wow.
Yep. Yankees for 2, and then they get the Cardinals for 3, and it's a weird series.
There's a day off in there, right?
Well, yeah, they play the Yankees Tuesday, Wednesday. Then they play the Cardinals Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. The Saturday is the Bucs preseason game. The Rays were initially scheduled to play that day. They moved that game to Thursday.
Wow, that's curious. Okay.
Yeah, for parking and whatever else, everything going on.
Yeah, traffic, cops, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the personnel work at both, and things like that. So it's a weird Thursday, Friday, Sunday series. The Saturday off day.
Saturday off, man.
Yep. And then they go on the road to Cleveland and Washington.
Back on the road again.
Yep. And then in September, it becomes the week at home, week on the road, week at home, week on the road. Normal schedule.
A little more equitable, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a tough stretch, and I'm not sure, like I said, we've talked about in the past, I don't think baseball did them a favor, and it turns out they probably would have been okay. They would have been okay. Now, there was rain, but, there's rain in Miami, and there's rain and when they had an open air stadium, there's rain everywhere. And talk about hot, man. Again, I cannot get over how hot it was up in Pittsburgh. Like there are certain parts in this country that are just being roasted by this heat dome and whatnot. And not for nothing, but have you seen the size of this hurricane that looks like it's going to curve back out into the ocean and miss maybe the greater part of the United States?
You don't see many Cat 5s in August. That's very rare.
It's enormous too.
And it swelled quick.
Yeah. And that's over the Atlantic. I mean, imagine what one would be and how powerful one will be if we get one that goes up through the Gulf waters, right?
Yep.
And that's when it's jet fuel, but the Atlantic, the ocean's so warm that these things are mushrooming to Cat 5 status. So I hate this time of year. It's every year it's the same thing. Oh, start of the NFL season right around September. Yeah, it's going to be great. Oh, here come the Hurricanes lined up like, planes at LaGuardia. And, just to see this first one be that size, you're like, woof. You get a different track on one of those, it's not going to be good for somebody. But that's where we live, man. You just gotta have to endure it. And I keep seeing the ads now. I am 100% officially ready for college football. In fact,
well, week
Matt
0
Baker,
is this week.
Yeah, this week, and we should get Matt on because Matt Baker I hadn't talked to him in a while, and he needed a number, which I was happy to give him. But I gave him the who dis, right? And he goes, "This is the guy that wants to do your podcast again someday." I go, "Okay,
oh, really?"
Yeah, I said, "Okay, done, sold." So we got to get Matty on maybe before college football season starts.
We can arrange that. That's for sure.
We'll work on that. Yeah, it'd be great to talk to him again. Fired up. I'm fired up for college football, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're now 10 days away from USF's opener on Thursday night before Labor
That's
Day
crazy.
Weekend. They have Boise State in town. That's a USF schedule. And I know Florida's schedule is just crazy. Like, what, 7 top 25
everybody
teams,
they
whatever.
play are top 25, yeah.
But USF in playing in, it's not the AAC.
The
anymore.
American Conference.
It's not the American Athletic Conference anymore. Now it's just the American
We're
Conference.
just American.
Yeah. But they open Boise State at home, at Florida, at Miami. Who at USF put that schedule together a couple years ago?
The guy that's at Navy. Hey, thanks, man. Who you got?
I mean, I got Air Force. I'm not sure if Alex had any say in this, or if this was all Jeff Scott, Michael Kelly. I mean,
it's got to be Michael Kelly, right?
Well, you're not supposed to put all 3 of those in one season.
I don't know
to start your year. I mean, you could be a good team and easily go 0-3 in that stretch.
They do pay a lot of money at Florida and Miami though to play them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I mean, you could go 0-3 and still be a really good team.
Could be
in that stretch.
You could lose one and not really hurt you too bad for the future. Yeah, and that's the thing about college football now. I mean, look, Texas and Ohio State, they're 1-2, and someone's going to lose that game, and it ain't going to matter because they're both going to end up in the college football playoffs.
For those two, no. I mean, yeah. To lose that game,
but that's really what the sort of I guess the beauty, if you will, if you're a college football coach, like you kind of like the system now, because in the past, man, if you lost a game in September or even late August, it may come back and keep you out of the playoffs.
Yep.
Now that will not be the case.
That's true, and if the Big Ten gets their way now, apparently they're proposing a 24-28 team playoff.
I mean, money is king, man. The more teams you get involved, the more rounds you have, the more television programming.
Just go ahead and start playing one shining moment during the college football playoff.
That's right.
I mean, if you're going to have that many teams, I mean, geez,
the ball is kicked. Oh my God, it's end over end. Yeah,
but seriously, 24-20. I mean, that's 5 games that teams could possibly have to play. I thought these were student athletes.
Well, clearly they are not student athletes anymore.
I mean, you could play, if you go to your conference championship, 13, and then you have to play 5. You could play 18 games in a season. Holy cow.
Well, didn't the national champion play damn near that many anyway the last time?
Well, Ohio State didn't make the conference championship last year.
Oh, that's why. But if they had, that was another game.
But yeah, 3 plus 13. So yeah, you could play 16.
17 game season. Yeah. It's like pro football. Like pro football was. They're about to play 20.
Yeah.
We'll go to 18 here pretty quick, which I'm fine with. I mean, if I'm a player, I'm not probably fine with it. But by the same token, the salaries are so big, and as you add these games, they'll get even bigger. But these players don't have to play as long. We've talked about that. Like they're going to make their money because there's so much money in the revenue streams of the NFL that they're partners with. So,
hockey next season is going to up from 82 to 84 games.
Really? Why are they going the other way?
They'll get rid of 2 preseason games next
year.
Okay,
got it.
Right. So once they added Seattle to the mix,
it made it more balanced.
The way they schedule it is you play every team in the opposite conference, a home and away. So that's 32 games.
Mm-hmm.
You play every team in the other division in your conference 3 times. So that's 24 games. And you're supposed to play every team in your division 4 times, which is 28 games. Well, that adds up to 84. So right now, 2 teams in your division, you only play 3. So next year, by adding the extra 2 games, they'll get back to You'll play every team in your division 4 times.
4 times.
Two home,
much,
two on the road.
Much easier, yeah.
Yep. And they're going to get rid of 2 preseason games to do that. So this year, the Lightning have 7 preseason games. Next year, they'll have most likely 5.
Yeah.
It's a minimum of 4, but the Lightning and Panthers play in Orlando every year for an extra. So,
right. And is this the year that they have the outdoor?
Yes, February 1st at Raymond James Stadium.
Wow, it's gonna be crazy
against the Bruins. So,
Lord knows what kind of we get any kind of weather in February.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
but the NHL is confident they can pull this off. So
they can keep the ice hard, right? Cold.
And Jeff Vinik has been asking for this for a decade plus. So
yeah, well, little parting gift for Jeff, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rays, their situation, I think, is going to be cleared up. I think, if I had to guess, I keep hearing September 15th.
Yep.
For that sale to be completed.
It sounds like even the owners will vote in September.
That's what it sounds like.
But the control may not be transferred till after the season. So October sometime.
Yeah, and I mean, reading Mark Tompkins, the plan at least is they want to keep, pretty much as much of the front office as they can. There are always going to be changes, though. Yep. I mean, when you have different ownership groups, there's people that they know, and it's their team, and there'll be some people with this organization that won't want to work for the new owners, but if they can do that, it'd be great, because I think continuity wins. Certainly, you want Kevin Cash, you want, Neander, like you want those guys if you can keep them. But
I don't know. I started hearing fans say Kevin Cash may need to go. No, those are fans. I don't.
Well, here's a question: does Kevin Cash want to stay?
Well,
because I think you're almost in a Madden situation now.
Right. Now, although Mark's article about what the new owners want to do mentioned that it's thought that Neander and Cash have 4 years left on their deals, so he may not have a choice. Although, if you really don't want to stay, you could go to the new owner going, "Can you let me out of my contract?"
Yeah, I would say that nobody wants to force a guy to work that doesn't want to be here. You're not going to get a very good job.
Madden had a clause in his contract that if Andrew Friedman left, he could get out of his contract.
He could void his.
I think he had 1 year left when Friedman left, and he chose to void it. Now, the question was, did he already talk to the Cubs and other teams before he voided his contract?
No, they would never do that.
There were some claims of that.
That doesn't happen.
But, yeah, he opted out, and obviously
agents talk to teams when the other guys are still coaching? No.
What? No.
Bill Parcells. Yeah, I've never heard of it. Oh, man. Well, it was an exhausting week. I did a lot of reporting. I had 2 hours sleep. I'm glad that they're done with the road trips, at least for this preseason. And then I'm ready for preseason to end. I think we're all kind of ready for preseason to end.
I was ready when it started. I mean,
right? There's just not much. There's not a lot to learn here. I mean, I'm watching the Bears, take Buffalo apart 31-0. Does anybody think if these guys play during the fall that this result will be anywhere close to this?
No.
Because I don't. Because that monster Josh Allen was never on the field.
Yep.
So.
Well, and the other thing, though, and you say you're ready for preseason to end. It's also and we'll use Larry Foote's term, champagne problems that the Bucs have, or Bucs fans have, is that you have a pretty steady team, and you've had the same GM for more than 10 years now.
12 years now, yeah. It's 12
you're coming off 4 straight division titles and 5 straight
playoffs.
Yeah. Your whole offense, every starter on the offense is back, and most of the backups are back. Like, there's not a lot of position battles. There's not there's some holes, and they're addressing them with cornerback. They drafted 2 of them. They brought in Hassan Reddick for the pass rush, and Servase Dennis is now held. I mean, you've got stuff, but I mean, that's why the excitement is Shiloh Sanders going to make the team?
I know,
and
right?
I agree with you. I think he's on the practice squad. I don't think he makes the team.
Right.
And he may get some time with the team this year, depending on how things pan out. But, those are the storylines, because who the offense is. I mean, okay, right now you got to figure out who's going to start at left tackle, because Tristan Wirfs is hurt for a few games, and we know Godwin's not going to be there, but you drafted Ibuka, so that's pretty settled there. And there's just not a lot of storylines. It's not.
No.
You don't have a team that's going, I have no idea who we're going to start at cornerback or whatever. I mean, you pretty much know the roster outside the last 5 or 6 players, and we'll see who makes it. And some of the injuries are going to affect that too. And, then we get to the regular season on September, 8th or 9th or whatever it is.
September 8th, yeah.
Or 7th, actually.
I thought it was the 8th. So I better recheck
Sunday
my
Sunday
flight.
the 7th.
Oh, Sunday the 7th. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, in Atlanta, which will be fun. Division title rival and all that, and Raheem, and they beat him twice last year. Like, there's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot to it, But we'll get to see Hassan. Right. The other thing is, like, even if these guys play a few snaps here or there, um, football is not. It's a 60-minute sport at least, and it's what does Hassan Reddick do if he has 60 plays, right, or 55 plays? Like, you don't see these guys on the field long enough to make the kind of impact. Some of them do. Some of them make a play here or there. But you're talking about full games.
And we know Vita Vea just wears on the offensive line.
Oh, God. He's such a beast.
And that's, part of a 4-quarter game, not just one series.
He played like a series or two in this last game. He just destroyed some people. Just forklift 2 guys, man, in the backfield. And I think it was Hall. Logan Hall came just slid down the hill and just destroyed the running back because he had nowhere to go, because Vita was just like in the backfield with these 2 behemoth linemen. Like we said last week, or I think it was last week when we last talked, maybe Friday. Todd Bowles saying the one guy he can't play without is Vita Vea. Changes their defense too much.
Which
There's
is funny.
No one like him.
I saw someone online proposing the trade for Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I did too.
It was a first-round draft pick. It was.
Well, you're going to give up a first-rounder, okay, fine. And then there was Bucky Irving. Even if you got to the point where you said, well, he's a running back, we can find running backs. Even if you got there, the next one was Vita Vea.
Which means it's someone who doesn't know the Bucs very well.
Exactly. It was Mike Tannenbaum.
Oh, that's right. It was Mike Tannenbaum. Yeah, I was like,
who was a GM in this league, for God's sakes?
Get out of here.
Like, come on, man. We ain't doing that.
That's fine.
I know Micah Parsons is good. I know he's really good. He averages 13 sacks a year.
I'll give you Vita Vea, but you're giving me Micah Parsons and your first-round draft pick. I mean, come on.
Right? Right? Like, geez, man. I'm not sure I'm better how am I better if I lose Vita Vea but pick up a Micah Parsons?
I mean, I think Micah Parsons is great, but
yeah.
I got a guy that there's very few like in the NFL. I mean,
absolutely.
You're hoping Hassan Reddick can do some of what Micah does. I mean, I think Micah's better than Hassan Reddick, but
if Micah gets you 13, if Reddick can get you 10, I'll sacrifice the 3 and keep my players. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe me. I think Todd Bowles would love that chess piece of Micah Parsons, but
he's younger. Price. He's going to play longer.
But not for that price. Not even close.
And then you got to pay him, $40 million. 35, whatever the going rate is for the highest paid edge rushers. So. Yeah, I saw that. I thought, come on, Mike, you can do better than that. First of all, no, really, Bucky Irving? Really? Come on, man. Did you see this cat last year? It's like, well, Dallas could use a running back. Yeah, I know, but I don't think we're ready to give up Bucky Irving. It's funny to me, fantasy football. And at the end of the day, he's going to stay in Dallas anyway. We all know this is Jerry just trying to stay relevant. I really believe the Cowboys, $365 a year. We're like a soap opera.
I know it's Jerry trying to stay relevant and do what he does. If I'm the players union and I'm other players, I want Micah Parsons to just go, you know what? I'll play this year and I'm done after this year. I'm gone. I'm a free agent.
Well, he could do that.
You could
do that right now.
But I mean, instead of signing whatever deal, you had your chance to sign me. You chose not to negotiate in good faith. If the players were to, if Trey Henderson does this, if Micah Parsons does this, they're under contract. If they go play and then go become free agent, you'll start to see guaranteed contract. It'll force the players will get some leverage back. The owners have. I don't
know why they do it now. I don't know why you'd sign a contract if even 1 year wasn't guaranteed.
Because they all do.
I know, but that's a dumb reason.
And because the players in the history. Baseball players have held out and stayed out, and other sports, hockey, football players cave every time.
Mm-hmm.
And the owners know it.
Mm-hmm.
The owners can get their way. They may miss a few games here and there in a season if the CBA's up, but the players in football always cave. They always have.
Yeah.
But if a couple big players just said, you know what? Nope, you had your chance. You didn't sign me in the offseason. I'm going to free agency. It would change.
They'd all follow suit. We saw it this year. A couple guys in the start of the second round got guaranteed deals, and not a single other player signed until they started guaranteeing more of their deal. Now, they didn't. The other two, the rest of them did not get fully guaranteed for the 4 years, but a bunch of them got it for 3 years.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So,
but I mean, no team got hurt by the players not signing early. They all signed by the first week of camp.
Everybody made it to camp,
right?
Yep.
But if Micah Parsons and Trey Hendrickson and a couple other big name players just said, "No, we're testing free. I'm not gonna." Now it's a risk.
Well, that's the problem. You go out and get hurt this year without a new deal, and then you're screwed.
It's a risk, but it would change negotiations. It would change a lot of things. But players have not been willing to go that route.
It's a weak union, and it's in total disarray right now anyway with all the political stuff that's going on. So until they get good leadership, they got a little ways to go before the next CBA. But, yeah, that union could get a lot more strong. They really could. And they're profiting on the backs of a lot of guys that did those things, right, that did the lockouts or when they were locked out or did the strikes and, paid the price. So that these guys can get paid. And at some point, you got to think about the future too. Like it's not all about you, although it's all about you.
Yep.
But I don't have any faith that there's going to be much of a change except, they'll go to 18 games and then eventually try to get them into 20.
20 will happen in 2030 when the CBA is up.
That's right. But, man, the season is so long. And I think about this like, a fourth preseason game was the norm. Before that, it was 6. I can't imagine having 6 games.
Remember back to 3-a-day practices and stuff.
Oh yeah. No, it's a country club out there. It really is, and I'm complaining about it too. But I remember what those were like, and living in dorms. Those guys were living rustically instead of in a 5-star hotel. That sort of thing. So yeah, they're spoiled. They're a little bit pampered, and and so are the Sports Day Tampa Bay fans because we just got another hour on your Monday podcast here. So bonus time for us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And send us your money for the extra half hour that we just gave you. Anyway, go see Breitling Boutique. You can do that for us at least, International Plaza Mall. They got all the watches that you possibly need for the men and women, your wife, your girlfriend, you name it. It's Breitling Boutique. And make sure you let them know you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. No practice for the Bucs today. The Rays are headed home to begin their series against the New York Yankees. So I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about. You can always get your mailbag questions in. Do that at SportsDayTB or on Twitter or X. You can reach me at NFL Stroud, or my email address is rstroud@tampabay.com. For Steve Versnick, I am Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Have a great day, everybody.